Good morning. We're in week 5, if you can believe that. And we're still working on this right here, solving equations. Notice that it should be a new sheet of paper and your bell work should be at the top. Tomorrow will be in the middle. Wednesday will be at the bottom, and then you'll flip it over. All right, let's take a look here. Remember, all work is due on Friday, and you have till Sunday to turn it in to work for the week. And I will continue to email parents every Friday to let them know what to look for. Look up here. Draw your line. You're trying to get rid of, circle the x. You're trying to get rid of the 2 and the 13 to get x by itself. Well, you always get rid of the number with the variable last, so you want to subtract 2 on this one. So you're going to get x divided by 13 is equal to 1, I guess it is. And then the opposite of dividing is multiplying. So here you're going to multiply by 13, and you're going to get x equals 13. And so that's number 1. Number 2, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see it. Okay. Number 2, you're dividing by 13, the whole thing. See, that's different. This one was only part. So I would multiply by 13 to start with to get rid of this 13. And so when you do, you get x plus 2 is equal to whatever that is, 39. And then you want to subtract 2 and you're done. So x equals 37. Two different problems that look very similar. The next one, you have some fractions. You would multiply these two. 5 times 2 is 10. So you're going to multiply each one of these by 10. And when you multiply, 5 goes into 10 twice. 2 times x is 2x. And then here, 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 10, 5. And 5 times 5 is 25. And then finally, that's 50. So now you have a two-step equation. Draw your line, circle your variable. And so what you want to do here is add 25 to both sides. So you get 2x is equal to 75 divided by 2. And whatever that is your answer. Half of 70 is 35, so I guess it's 37.5. You can check it on your calculator. Okay? All right, this last one, what you do here is you put them all together. 4 times 3 times 2, so 4 times 3 times 2. And I don't know, that's a big number, so I'm just going to do 4 times 3 times 2. 4 times 3 times 2, 4 times 3 times 2, the 3's cancel. 4 times 2 is 8, so that's 8x. Real simple. The 4's cancel. 3 times 2 is 6, times 1 is 6. The 2's cancel. 4 times 3 is 12, times 1 is 12, and now you work it out. So here, you would add 6 to both sides, so you get 8x is equal to 18 divided by 8, and then reduce it. So reduce by 2, and you get 9 over 4, and I'll take that. Or 2 1/4, 2.25. All right, your assignment for today is to finish this work. Go to page 106, and I'll catch up with you. All right, let's take a look at the bell work here. Let's see what we got. All right. We're going to do parallel and perpendicular. Let me minimize this. There we go. Okay, I think we can see it all. All right, so on this one right here, what we want to do is find parallel and perpendicular, okay? And we're going to finish that worksheet today. So look up here. Well, you're going to start off, you got a point and the slope. So circle the slope. Remember, the slope is in front of the x, just so you know. Okay, y's got to be by itself. So you're going to do point slope. So put point slope formula. Put y minus y equals m times x minus x. And we're going to plug it in. Put x and y. Now this is a negative and this is a negative, so that's going to be a double negative. Make sure you put it as y minus a negative 5. Be careful with that. We want parallel, so you want to use the same slope. So negative 3 over 2, and then x minus my x, which is 5. Okay? So if they don't tell you which way to do it, you're done. That's point slope. But on the worksheet, they want you to get y by itself. So we got to go further. So watch and pay attention, okay? Some kids can do this, They just can't finish it up. So double negative's a positive. Two negatives make a positive. Okay? So this becomes negative 3 over 2x. Put a 1 under here. Remember that trick? Okay? A negative times a negative, that's two negatives. 3 times 5 is 15. 2 times 1 is 2. The only thing you have to do now is subtract 5. So put minus, I'm going to use a different marker so you can see the arithmetic, minus 5 over 1. I asked you to go back and learn fractions, but here it is. So I'm going to get negative 3 over 2x, and then this, my least common denominator is 2, so I'm going to multiply by 2, and I get plus 15 over 2 minus 10 over 2. Okay, now I have the same denominator, but I have more pluses. So your final answer on your test next week will be y equals negative 3 over 2x, and then this is going to be plus 5 over 2. Make sure you understand that. If you have to, rework it. Rework it, rework it, rework it. Let's try another one. This one says perpendicular. So you have to take your slope, put the negative at the top. So put negative 3 over 2 as your slope, put an m. And we want to flip, change. Write that down. Flip, change for perpendicular. This means perpendicular. Perpendicular. Okay? So we got to flip it. And when you flip it and change it, it becomes a positive. See, it's a negative, so it's going to change to a positive 2 over 3. That's what we want to use. That's going to get us perpendicular. Okay, perpendicular means 90 degrees. Okay, so those lines, we're going to have y minus my y, which is still a negative 5, is equal to my slope, which is 2 over 3, and then x minus my x. And my x here was 5. Okay, and again, if they don't tell you how to do it, you're done. That's point slope. Any questions on this? All right, let's keep moving because I want y by itself. So put y plus 5 is equal to 2 over 3x. And then put a 1 under here. Use the trick. A positive times a negative, that's 1 negative. So that's going to be 10 over 3. And then the only thing you have to do is subtract 5 over 1. Put a 1 under it. So you get y equals 2 over 3x. This right here, your least common denominator is 3. So you would multiply by 3. So you're going to get negative 10 over 3 minus 15 over 3. 3 times 5. At this point, you have the same sign, so you add. You have the same denominator. So that gives you a negative 25 over 3. And you can leave it like that. That's acceptable. And that's called slope-intercept. Write that down. Slope-intercept form. Okay, you need to know that. All right, on a new sheet of paper, try these. I want parallel and perpendicular. I want two things for this one. All right, let's try parallel. Parallel, you're going to use the same slope. So number 1, we'll call that number 1 and that number 2. So we're going to use negative 6 over 7. So it's going to be y minus my y, which is 4, is equal to, scratch that out, is equal to my slope, negative 6 over 7, and then x minus my x. My x is a negative, so that's going to be a double negative. So I get y minus 4 is equal to negative 6 over 7, x. This becomes a plus. Put a 1 under there, use the trick. So that gives you a negative times a positive. That's 1 negative. 6 times 5 is 30. 7 times 1 is 7. I'm almost done. All you have to do now is add 4. So put plus 4 over 1. A lot of kids are going to have trouble with the fractions, but we're going to have to learn them, okay? It's just the least common denominator. Take the 7 and just put the 7 over here. It'll work. So that's going to be a negative 30 over 7 plus 28 over 7, and that gives me a negative 2 over 7. And you're done, and that's parallel. And you need to know that for your test and the EOC. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do perpendicular, but I want to make this a little bit smaller. Let me slide this up. Okay, now watch, number 2. Perpendicular, you're going to take this, flip, change. So put flip, change. So that's called negative reciprocal. So it changes from a negative to a positive. So put a positive 7 over 6. So it's going to be y minus my y. That stays the same. The only thing that changes is the slope. and then x minus my x. In this case, it was a -5. It's the same thing as that. Okay, so again, that's point slope, and you're done. The only thing you have to do now is solve this. So you're going to get y minus 4 is equal to 7 over 6x. This is a plus, so put a 1 under here. So that becomes a positive times a positive is a positive. So that's 35. 6 times 1 is 6. Okay, the only thing you got to do now is add 4 over 1. Find your least common denominator, and you're done. So 7 over 6x. This right here, you take the 6 and put the 6 over here. Okay, so that's going to be 35 plus 24 is what that is. And when you add that up, I guess you get 59. So it's going to be plus 59 over 6, and then you got to try to reduce it. But I think that's it. And that's parallel and perpendicular. Today, you're going to finish worksheet C. Now, if you wasn't here, the worksheet's up here in the folder where it says geometry underneath that cart where the stapler is. But here it is right here if you're at home, and you can go to assignments and you can get the worksheet, and if you have to, print it. Sorry parents, but if they can't print it, then they'll have to copy it. But some kids can print it, and that's just the way it is. So let's take a look here. You had 1 through 6 last week on Friday. Okay, if you didn't finish that, continue wherever you are. But I want you to pick up on 7 through whatever it is, 7 through 16. Let's try to get that done today. Have a good morning.